So in the previous lecture we have calculated the loads that are there, and we have find out the length of slab and length of beam and length of walls that is to be transferring the load on my column C10. Right, so now we're going to calculate the actual load that is going to act on my column C10. Right, so first starting from the roof level, right, so roof and third floor. First is roof and third floor. Now let me draw a representative diagram that how these floors are being calculated. So we have a G plus 3 story building, right? We have a G plus 3 story building. So let me draw a representative diagram so that you will be able to understand this in a better way. This is a column and there is a roof over there, right? And we have a slab 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? This is a roof slab. This is a roof slab. Then we have one more slab. This is one. There is one more slab for next floor. 2. This is 3. There is one more slab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Then we have a ground level and then we have a foundation. Right? Then we have a ground level somewhere here, and at the bottom we have this foundation level. Right? So top there is a roof slab. At top this is a roof slab. Then next ultimate immediate next is a third floor. This is a third floor. Second floor, first floor, ground floor. This is plinth level, right? Ground floor, and there is a plinth beam also. All right. So we have all the heights. So our foundation depth is around 2.4 meter. So this is 2.4 meter. This is to be given in the data. This height is 0.6 meter, and floor to floor height. See, you can see the floor to floor height how it is considered from top of the ground floor slab up to the top of the first floor slab. That is how you consider the height. So this is 3.35 meter. Again, this is also 3.35 meter. All the heights are same, and last is again 3.35 meter. So starting from roof, then third, second, first, ground floor, plinth level, and the last is foundation. Then we have a masonry wall also. So let me show a masonry wall here. On all floors we have a masonry wall. Right, so this is how your section look like. The middle one is the column C10. Right, so first we are going to find the between the roof and third floor. This column is between the roof and third floor. So whatever load that is acting here, this is between roof and third floor. Right, so first step is between roof and third floor. That is I am going to calculate here. So for that, let us start from the top, because we have a roof slab at top. So first load that is acting for roof slab. So now we know the area of roof slab that is going to transfer the load on this. That is the shaded portion area, 5 multiplied by 6, that is 30 meter square area load will be transferred. And how much load of slab will be calculated? We have calculated the load from slab as 9.56. So if you calculate this, you will get your roof slab load is 286.8 kilonewton. Then second, we have a wall load also. So we know the length of wall, right? We know the length of wall. Length of wall for secondary, length of walls was 14 meter. If you see the previous video, length of wall was 14 meter. write it with some darker color. 14 meter. How much load we have calculated for that wall? So we have calculated the wall load as 13.05. So multiply by 13.05. So we'll get your value of wall load as 182.7 kilonewton. After walls, what next? We have main beams. So we know the length of main beams, we have calculated in the previous steps only, it is 11 meter, and we know the load also, it is 2.72. So if you calculate this, you will get your answer as 29.92 kilonewton. And next one is secondary beam. So we know the length of secondary beams, which is 3 meter, multiply by the load of secondary beam 1.43. So if you calculate this, 3 multiplied by 1.43, you will get your answer as 4.29 kilonewton. So we got this load number 1, load number 2, load number 3, load number 4. So 4 elements: slab, wall, beam, secondary beam, and main beam, right? So total load that is acting on this height, that is at top between roof and third. So it is summation of all these 4 loads. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 will give me total. So do the summation of all these 4, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, you will get as 503.71 kilonewton. 503.71 kilonewton as your load that is acting between roof and third floor slab. So let us write down this value 503.71 here. So let me change the color. 503.71 kilonewton. So this is how we calculate the loads, right? So simple: area into value, length into value. So next we move to the next level, that is between third and second floor. That is between third and second floor. So second thing to be considered. Now here there is a no roof slab, it is a typical roof slab. So second type that we get between third and second floor. Third floor and second floor. So there we have a floor slab instead of roof slab. This will be floor slab. So area is same, only the load is different. So let me change this value for loads. So 30 meter square area is there, and the load for on the floor is 12.56. So if you calculate this, you will get your value as 376.8 kilonewton. Next comes the wall load, right? So wall loads remains the same, main beam loads remains the same, and secondary beam loads remains the same. So all these 3 loads remains the same as previous case, because there is no change in dimension, no change in intensity of loading, or no change in length. So that is how it remains the same. So now if we want to calculate the total load, right, if you want to calculate the total load, so let us first do the summation of all these 4, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So I am getting this value as 593.71 kilonewton. kilonewton. Now this is acting at this point here on this column, right? So it is acting here, right? Actually it is acting here. So when this length is here, there is a length of column above it also. So there we have a load of 503.71. So it is going to be transferred in this floor also. So this is already there. 503.71 is already there, right? Plus we need to add 593.71. So here if I want to calculate 503.71 plus for the current floor, that is 593, this will give me total load here, right? So I need to add the previous upper floor load, that is 503.71. so please add here 503.71. so if I make the summation of this, I'll get a load at third and second floor, which is 1097.42 kilonewton. 1097.42 kilonewton. So I am getting my total load here as 1097.42 kilonewton. Right? I hope all of you are understanding the logic here. Now we are coming to this level. Right? So again, there is already one load available from top, that is 1097.42 kilonewton, plus we need to calculate the load on this floor. So the load on this floor will be similar to this floor also, second floor, because all the things are same. So 593.71 will come here again directly, no need to do the calculations again. So third step, so third is between second and first floor. Second floor and first floor. So for that, load from upper floor, already we have 1097.42 and plus second and first floor load, that is second and first floor load, which is 593.71. so 593.71 kilonewton. So I'll get final answer. So 593.71 kilonewton. So if you add this, you will get total load as 1691.13 kilonewton at between these four, 1691.13 kilonewton. Right. Next, fourth one, we are coming to the next level, that is this first and ground floor. Between first and ground floor, so we already have a load from top, so which is 1691.13 kilonewton is already there, and similarly between first and ground floor also we have the same load, that is 593.71. so let's write down load from upper floor. I am getting as 1691.13, and between first and ground floor I am having 593.71. so if I make the summation of these two, I'll get a load as 2284.84 kilonewton. So plus 593.71 kilonewton. If I make the summation, 2284.84 kilonewton. Alright, now we have come to the next point, that is column between plinth and footing. Right, so this is the height. Now we have reached here, column between the plinth and footing, this portion. Now we need to calculate load on this portion. Right, so let's write down that fourth point. Next point is fifth point. This is column between plinth and footing. So this is fifth point. Plinth and footing. Column between plinth and footing. So let's calculate that column between plinth and footing. Alright, so for that we are assuming that there is no floor slab at plinth. At plinth level I am not casting any slab, right? So assume no floor slab at plinth. Now why this is important? In many places we cast this floor slab if you are using this for heavy parking, right? When you go in the shopping malls or say very high-rise buildings where car parking is there, right? In that case we are casting slabs at the bottom, at the plinth level we are casting slab because to carry the load of the heavy vehicles, right? So here we are assuming that we are not casting any floor slab at plinth. If it is there, you need to assume the load of that, you need to calculate the load of that also, you need to do the design of that slab also, right? So consider only plinth beams, no walls. Second thing we are considering no walls. Of course it is to be assumed, right? So consider no walls, only plinth beams. So weight of plinth main beams, let us calculate weight of plinth main beam. So we know the length of main beam, multiply by weight of main beam, we already calculated, that is 2.72. we are keeping the sizes same, right? We are keeping the sizes same, so we get 29.92 kilonewton. Then we have weight of plinth beam. Alright, then we get the weight of secondary beam, right? Weight of secondary beam. So we also know the length of secondary beam, which is 3 meter multiplied by 1.43. So if I calculate this, I'll get my answer as 4.29 kilonewton. Then what else we have? We have weight of column, right? Self weight of column. We have weight of column here, that is 3 meter. This is total height, 2.4 plus 0.6, that is 3 meter, multiplied by area of column, that is 0.3 multiplied by 0.3, because we have assumed the size as 0.3 multiplied by 0.3 multiplied by density, that is 25, we get 6.75 kilonewton. We get our answer as 6.75 kilonewton. So if I make the summation of all these three, I am getting my load at this level as 40.96 kilonewton. 40.96 kilonewton, plus I have a load from upper floors, right? So plus load from upper floor is 2284.84, that is 2284.84 kilonewton. So my final load here will be 2284.84 plus 40.966, that is 2325.8 kilonewton load, 2325.8 kilonewton load that is acting on my foundation level. So if I draw the loading here, that is I get 40.96 plus 2284.84. So I am getting my final load on the footing level is 2325.8 kilonewton. Now one more thing that is to be taken care over here. See, many of you will ask me that, sir, why we have calculated the self weight at this point only, why not all the other floors, right? Why we have calculated the self weight at this level only, why not all the other floors? So you can add the self weight on all the other floors also, it doesn't matter, right? Even if you remove the self weight, it will not make much difference in the final answers, right? 10-20 kilonewtons here and there, it is perfectly fine, because we already considered the factor of safety in the calculation of these loads, right? So if you want a perfect exact calculation, you are supposed to add the self weight at each and every floor also. So you can add self weight. I have not added self weight, I have kept it at the end only, just to explain how to calculate the self weight of column, right? If you want exact perfect answer, you can add this value at each and every floor, considering the height, right? Because all the other floors we have height is 3.35 meter, so multiply this by 3.35, size remains the same, right? So there will be some 20-30 kilonewton higher load you will be getting here, right? So this is the way to calculate the loads coming on column number C10. Now what you can observe from this load calculation is this. See, at top we have 503.71. As we come down, the load is increasing. As we come down, the load is increasing, and maximum load we have at the footing. So this is a general observation that you are supposed to make after the calculation. So from this observation you can say that as I go on top, my column load is reducing, and if the load is reducing, I can reduce the size of column, or I can reduce the steel that I am going to provide in the column. So this is what you see on site also. So this is a practical tip I am giving you. So if you go on site as an engineer, as a structural engineer, and you are doing the design, you can observe this phenomena. If you can find a more load at the top, in some cases you will find because of the earthquake load or wind load, but in general if you are doing the calculation for dead load and live load only, this will be the case. As you go on top, load will be reducing, and so you can reduce the size of column, or you can reduce the grade of concrete, or you can reduce the number of steel that is to be provided, right? So this thing you can check in the softwares also, whether you are making the design correctly or not. To check in the softwares, you apply dead load and live load, gravity load, run the analysis, check the load pattern of the columns from bottom to top, right? So this is a practical tip that all of you should take care. So with this, we complete this step of this load calculation. So once we calculate the load, next step is to design, right? So for designing, we are going to do it in the next session. Thank you so much for watching this session. We will see you in the next session. Keep learning, keep practicing. Thank you so much.